Are you ready to turn your successful business into the next great franchise brand? Hi, I'm Todd Abraham, franchise consultant with Franchise Marketing Systems, the #1 franchise consulting company in America and Canada. If you've ever thought about franchising your business, now's the time to explore the possibilities. And my consulting services are completely free to any entrepreneur looking to create a franchise from their proven business model. At Franchise Marketing Systems, we handle everything: your franchise disclosure document, federal trademark filing, franchise information website, business plan, and so much more. And the best part, we make it affordable, breaking project fees into 6 to 8 easy monthly installments. So before you take your business nationwide, get the expert guidance you deserve with no pressure and no upfront cost. Call Todd Abraham today at 423-381-0925 for your free consultation. That's 423-381-0925. Todd Abraham with Franchise Marketing Systems, your one-stop shop for everything franchising. Everyone, and welcome to the Franchise Marketing Systems podcast series, where we're introducing all the different team members who make up the awesome company, which is Franchise Marketing Systems. And what I like to call it are the facets of the FMS diamond, because in my experience as a franchisor who has witnessed firsthand the seamless operation of the Franchise Marketing Systems team, I just stand in awe of what they have done, and not only for Heartbeat Christian News, but for so many other companies. And today we are blessed to have with us Miss Jacklyn Ether, and she is, I don't want to say the jack of all trades, but I do want to say that she does a lot for Franchise Marketing Systems. And one of her greatest gifts that she brings to the company is her writing ability. So Jacklyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Todd. I am thrilled to be here. Happy to be here today.
It's exciting. So tell us a little bit about your background, and then how did you come to be a part of Franchise Marketing Systems? And
Sure, absolutely. So what I do for the team mostly is writing, and it's kind of a funny story how I got into it. I went to school for communication arts, where I got to have my hands in a lot of different kind of creative projects. That's everything from being on-camera talent to video editing, and then, of course, writing. So, and I went to school with just a fantastic group of people, and, lo and behold, probably about 5 years after I had graduated, somebody reached out to me asking if I would be interested in working on her marketing team as a writer. And at the time, I was not a professional writer. I had experience in it, of course, in a university capacity, but not beyond that. So that's where I dove in, and I did realize at that point, wow, I kind of have, this is coming naturally. And it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
So, and then from there, I got connected with Chris and Franchise Marketing Systems just in a really neat way too. Another person from their team, reached out on a community page and just seeking writers. And that's where I got to dive in, and it was perfect. It's been great ever since.
Yeah, FMS is just an awesome company, and I love the fact that it's a wholesome Christian-owned company, and a hardworking team of people. It's just, there's just, again, that's why I call it the facets of the FMS diamond. So now tell us what, I know that you write press releases. It's one of the things that you do because you wrote the press release for Heartbeat Christian News. And for anybody listening out there, I have to tell you, I did not suggest anything to Jacklyn about what to write, how to write it. She prayed about it, and God blessed her, and she did a perfect press release that I had to do one very minor edit, which just add one word. So talk about that and some of the other things that you do for FMS.
Yeah, of course. So so press release writing, I do that, and with those, I get to distribute those also through 2 different platforms that we use. We use Restaurant News and we use EIN, and through those platforms, we get to have just a really broad reach of audience, especially as far as like boosting SEO potential and having quality backlinks. Those platforms have worked really great for us and for our clients. Another thing I do for FMS is I do content writing for their sales materials. So that's developing the pitch, developing, the content that you want a potential franchise buyer to read and to pull them in. Really, it's like, what's my secret sauce to my business? And so I'm going to, figure out what your secret sauce is, and I'm going to put it in writing and get a potential buyer excited. That's a lot of fun for me to do. And then I also help with in-store sales materials and trade show materials. So that's I do the coordination piece for those projects. So just figuring out what would work inside of somebody's store or inside somebody's restaurant, and then connecting them with designers. And then when they get ready to go to trade shows, which there's a lot of great trade shows, throughout the U.S., there's international trade shows. So I help, and a lot of people haven't been to one before. They're not sure what to expect. So I'm that person that kind of gives them that overview of what to expect and some of the, first pieces they need to feel prepared when they show up to those trade shows. And then again, just that coordinating, with the designer and making sure everything's produced and gets to them on time. So yeah.
That's awesome. And another thing that you do as part of your writing is you help to write an 8-page sales brochure that you and Noah Cunningham work on together. He does the graphic design part and the layout, and you do the writing. And that's another huge thing, because that's just something else that the FMS clients can both use, like in a digital format, or they can have those printed and take them to the trade shows like you were talking about. And I have to, again, I can only use myself and my company as a personal experience, but the one that y'all did for me, it was just absolutely awesome. And so now you've been with Franchise Marketing Systems for how long now?
Oh, goodness. Let's see. About going on 6 years. 6
Wow.
years.
Doesn't seem like 6 years, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's been so much fun. And one of the things I just really love about working with Franchise Marketing Systems, well, first, I love the team. Everybody's very authentic and down to earth, very, very friendly. And that's just awesome. But also just what we get to do is cool. We get to connect with these entrepreneurs who have poured their time, their money, their resources into an idea, and they've got everything, in it, and they're going to dive in with us to expand that concept. And I just love getting to be a part of that journey. It's really neat. It's awesome too, just hearing these origin stories of how people are like, well, I had an idea and I thought I'll go for it, and
yeah.
It's cool.
Well, and plus, so Jacklyn has 5 beautiful children, and we were just talking about that right before we started the podcast. And she said she's got four girls and 1 boy. And I told her, I said, I feel sorry for the young man, and I definitely will pray for him. But no, I jest. But so that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about the process. When a client comes to FMS, they're experts in their vision and their business and what they've done. But what Franchise Marketing Systems does is help turn that into a very duplicatable system that can be expanded both nationwide, in some cases around the world. And you guys are experts at that. I mean, again, like I'm saying, because before I met anyone from FMS, the only avenue that I knew was a franchise attorney. And I'm sure they're great, but FMS does everything else that a franchise attorney does, plus so much more, like the press releases and like the sales brochure and like those marketing materials you're talking about that they'll take to trade shows. So tell us a little bit about your personal life. I know I just mentioned you had 5 children, but talk about, you said you're married, right? And
yeah. So married, 5 kids, and I am also a homeschool parent. So that's a very fun thing I get to do. I get to be with my kids all the time and watch them learn and grow. definitely can't teach writing because whenever you're good at something, it's hard to explain it to somebody else sometimes. Like, so that's always an interesting exercise to go through with my kids. I'm like, grammar, and it's just like this. You just know where the comma is, and they're like, no, I don't.
Yeah,
um,
I've said for years that children are God's way of reminding us of all the little things that we take for granted.
yep, yep. And it's funny too when they are little yous, and they're a lot like you. You get to see yourself in this other person, and then you get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're like, is that how I talk?
Yeah, that's right. That's
Or
right.
like, yeah. So, but kids are a blessing. They really are, and I am thankful and grateful too, just for the kind of work I get to do, where I can be a homeschool parent, and have wear those different hats and stuff. It's really great.
Well, yeah, and plus we live in such uh, I don't know, a morally decaying world. So it's comforting to know that you can protect your children's morals and while they're going through school. And it's a pretty rough world compared to when I was a kid, So you truly are blessed to be able to do that. So now, what all different team members within FMS do you typically work with on a day-to-day basis?
So within the marketing team, I'm working with Laura Rosenthal's, which I know you have done a podcast episode with her. So I know you know her well. And then, like you mentioned Noah Cunningham. There's a whole bunch of us on the market. We actually have a really expansive marketing team. So there's a lot of talent available to help people that are coming through, entrepreneurs, business owners that are coming through FMS. Just a huge pool of marketing talent there. And then I also work a little bit with the sales team, in the sense that I'm the person who creates all of our forms. So like if they have a interested franchise buyer come through and they need an evaluation form, I'm their person. I also create something called a Discovery Day agenda. So that is when a franchisor is ready just to kind of show off their business in person. They're going to have a potential buyer come in. Let's say if it's a restaurant, they're going to have them taste their food, do a tour. They might do a presentation and answer all their questions in person. Also, that gives them a feel for, their interaction face to face. So I create that. That's a Discovery Day agenda. And then, yeah, so that's why I interact with the sales team. And I'm trying to think if that's, probably on a day-to-day basis, that's who it is, the marketing team and the sales team.
So it sounds to me like you're probably the busiest person in the state of Georgia, between what you do for FMS, being married with 5 children who you homeschool, and then I think you do a little some side work too, right? Just like
Mm-hmm.
you said, you do some writing still for the other company on the marketing side. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when you sleep, but I imagine it's 4 hours a night if you on a good day,
Lots of coffee.
Yes, I am a coffeeaholic for sure. In fact, I've got a sign in my kitchen over my Keurig which says my blood type is coffee. So I'm with you on that one. So I think what's neat about what you do is that, and obviously you've probably in 6 years you've probably worked with well over 100 clients, if not more. But it's just your God-given gift to translate your skills into, because there's so many different types of clients that FMS works with and develops into franchises that I've witnessed. So you truly do have a God-given gift for interpretation and to be able to, because part of the sales process for the franchisor is dependent on the work that you do. So I just think that FMS is truly blessed to have you on their team. And that was doubly reassured to me when I read the press release and, of course, the sales brochure that you and Noah designed for us. So where do you tell us what you love about FMS other than the things you've already mentioned? But what would you tell somebody who is looking for a company to create a franchise out of their business that sets FMS apart from obviously the other competitors that are out there?
So what I love about franchise marketing systems is I feel like everybody on this team is truly rooting for, every business owner that comes through. They're excited on a personal level. I feel, just kind of, they're getting to know them. They're wanting to see them succeed. And I think that sets them apart. So just on that, person to person level, I feel like you can feel the difference in the business world with the authenticity that you get at FMS. These are good folks, and
Yeah.
and then also too, just like just the spectrum of services is really cool. Like, I mean, if they, it's like, oh, I need a trade show booth. We got you. We need an FDD. Of course, we've got that. Operations manual, got that. So it's just like, it's like anything they need for their business to not only develop into a franchise model, but to succeed in that sales phase, FMS has got them covered. And I think that's, it's nice to, I hate the cliche, it's a cliche, but it's a one-stop shop. And it is and that's nice too, because this is it's a very in-depth process. It can be a little, it's something different, it's something new. Not everybody knows what the process of franchising. So you want people who are going to be there and ready to have all kinds of conversations with you and answer questions that you feel might be small. Well, they're not, FMS is going to take the time and answer that question, and they're not going to make you feel like you never wasted their time. We're happy to do it because this
Right.
is what we all love. And, I think that's what really sets them apart for sure.
Yeah, what I love about FMS too is like even Chris Connor, the president, is everyone in the company is so humble and down to earth. And like you said, I never personally asked a question where I ever felt any of the FMS team members thought, well, that was a dumb question, In other words, they were happy, like you said, to answer the question. But the other thing that I love about FMS too is, like you said, it's not just helping develop the franchise into a sellable product, but like Chris told me, he said, we are as vested in our clients as they are in us, because once a franchisor goes through the process and legally becomes a franchise, FMS is going to go to work to help them sell their franchises. And I just think that's awesome,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely awesome. So, wow. I mean, Jacklyn, this has been awesome. And, we try to keep these things around 30 minutes, but listen, if we've covered everything that we need to cover in 20, praise God, we're doing good. And you have so much to do. And it's funny because Jacklyn mentioned to me, she said that she was trying to coordinate with her husband, before we started the interview, because she said she had a cranky toddler in her hands. And she said, if he didn't get home in time, she said, I'm not going to be able to do this. But it all worked out. So.
It did work out. I run into this, got to think on your feet when you're a parent, and, thank God truly for flexibility and things like that in life. And Todd, I think, thank you for, for understanding things like that. And, but, family is always first. And I'm just thankful that I get to work with a company who understands that too. And that's something I'd say too, that like, I just love, like, even when one of our clients has something that might come up and they're like, hey guys, I'm going to be radio silent for a couple of weeks. Everybody's like, okay, oh gosh, we get it. Totally. Take your time. And I just love that understanding that, there's a component of just humanity, just
Yes.
like, that's just so nice and so refreshing.
Yeah, because it could be much different. It could be a much stuffier company. Everybody's like, well, there's chain of command and all that sort of a thing, and there is, but not when it comes to the clients and their needs. That's the one thing that I've noticed, and and I can't say it enough. In all my years in business, I've met many company owners and CEOs, and Chris is definitely right up there in the top two, if not number one, and being the most humble and positive and hardest working, and never ever, you never feel like he's rushed when you make contact with him. You know, I mean, like he cares about whatever. And in fact, one of the other podcast, I think it was Laura had mentioned that about how hands-on he is with every franchisor in every step of the process, and that makes a big difference. You know.
Yes, truly. And yeah, that no one ever feels, alone. No one ever feels alone when they're going through franchise development with franchise marketing systems. And that sticks out for sure. And we've heard, and thank you for what you just said, because I've heard things over like the years where people are just like, such a great company to work with, and they make the process so much easier. So
yeah, because I mean, it can be there could be a lot of anxiety there if you went different routes. And for me, that's one of the biggest things that FMS does. They take the anxiety out of all the unknowns that a franchisor could experience, in the development process. So today, like I said, we're on the Franchise Marketing Systems podcast series. We're talking to Jacklyn Ether, who is a writer extraordinaire. I can say that because I've witnessed her skills firsthand, not only in writing the press release that was put out for the Heartbeat Christian News, but also in our other materials, our sales brochure and what have you. But Franchise Marketing Systems is here to take care of every step that your company needs to become a franchise, like Jacklyn was talking about. Not one detail left undone, and in a very professional way. And so, Jacklyn, we thank you so much for your time. God bless you. And we're off to the writing races, aren't we?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for anyone who's tuning into this. You're listening to Franchise Radio. My name is Todd Abraham, and you're listening to the Franchise Marketing Systems podcast series. And Franchise Marketing Systems, you can find their information at fmsfranchise.com. And we thank you for listening. Are you ready to turn your successful business into the next great franchise brand? Hi, I'm Todd Abraham, franchise consultant with Franchise Marketing Systems, the #1 franchise consulting company in America and Canada. If you've ever thought about franchising your business, now's the time to explore the possibilities. And my consulting services are completely free to any entrepreneur looking to create a franchise from their proven business model. At Franchise Marketing Systems, we handle everything: your franchise disclosure document, federal trademark filing, franchise information website, business plan, and so much more. And the best part, we make it affordable, breaking project fees into 6 to 8 easy monthly installments. So before you take your business nationwide, get the expert guidance you deserve with no pressure and no upfront cost. Call Todd Abraham today at 423-381-0925 for your free consultation. That's 423-381-0925. Todd Abraham with Franchise Marketing Systems, your one-stop shop for everything franchising.